Good morning. My name's Stephen Hayes, and I'm responsible for sales and marketing across the Owner and Infocare groups. I've been with Owner 12 months, and after many years, as Ian said, in software groups and in enterprise, I've joined Kiang in the team. I've known Kiang for many years, and I've heard about his journey with Owner from the start more than 10 years ago to today. So very excited to be here. I spent a lot of time across Australia and New Zealand talking with centre owners, managers, teachers, support teams. And I'll be honest, the same theme keeps coming up. The sector feels heavier than it used to. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. It's certainly not because people care less. I actually think it's because they care more. But expectations, complexity, pressures, at the same time have all increased. And today I want to talk briefly about what we're seeing across ECE and what we believe that next era of ECE will be and what it will look like. So I'm going to share with you some of that. And Kiang will show you some of the outcomes from that. I don't think anyone here will need convincing that it does feel different from 5 or 10 years ago. Staffing shortages, reliever gaps, compliance pressure, recruitment challenges, rising costs, parents' expectations that are now instant and constant. All of this is happening while teachers are trying to remain present, calm, emotionally connected to children every single day. We're asking more and more of ECE staff and leaders ongoing. And I think many teachers feel like the role has expanded well beyond just teaching. It's now into emotional support, behavioural support, compliance management, communication, crisis management. And we're asking them to do all of that before lunch. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about how we can ease some of that. But we've also seen at the same time the level of public scrutiny for ECE increase. It feels unprecedented. Stories in media, incidents going viral, regulatory action becoming more visible. And the difficult reality in this is families today are not simply choosing a centre. They're choosing who they trust with the most important people in their lives. Trust, in a way, has become the new currency of ECE. And trust is built through consistency, communication, safety, and visibility. The pressure on ECE right now is coming from every direction at once. More children in services, staffing shortages. I mentioned the gaps in staff, increasing compliance expectations. And I talked about, teachers needing to manage more around behavioural, emotional, development, complexity in rooms beyond what they've seen before. And the role of a teacher today is broader, faster, and more demanding than it was 5 years ago. And we add the pressure of ratio challenges, pay freezes, and many services are operating under enormous strain every single day. But despite all of that, teachers still show up for the children and the families every day. What we see is most teachers don't leave because they stop caring about children. They leave because of the operational pressure and it becomes overwhelming. So they look for a change. Burnout in ECE rarely comes from one big thing. It's the accumulation of the things I've been talking about. Documentation, incident reporting, audits, parent communication, staffing gaps, onboarding, and the admin that never seems to stop. Individually, these tasks are manageable, but together they create that enormous workload for each of you and your staff. Operational chaos eventually becomes cultural chaos. And that's why the conversation around technology matters now. Not to replace people, but to reduce friction. Parent expectations. Parents are not wrong, but expectations have changed. You know, the last good digital experience a parent has had becomes their expectation in childcare. Today, families expect visibility in real time, not a newsletter at the end of the week. They want updates now. They want to know, did my child settle today? What did they eat? Who did they play with? Who comforted them? What are they learning? And they want to know it constantly throughout the day. And honestly, that expectation is understandable. But trying to deliver that level of communication manually and at scale while also being present for children is exhausting and in many ways impossible. This is where technology starts to become less about convenience and more about sustainability. Technology in ECE is no longer just a nice to have. It's becoming essential to the operational support that you give. For the first time, technology is actually starting to catch up to the complexity of running ECE. Good systems can reduce admin, improve communication, and give leaders better visibility across their centres, across things like automated billing, digital sign-in, funding automation, real-time family communication, and faster incident documentation. And we'll talk today about smart technology and the use of AI, or, Poppins magic, as I like to call it. Not to replace teachers, but to give back. Every minute we can give back to teachers away from administrative tasks are minutes they can spend with the children. So for many centres today, today's challenge is not a lack of care or commitment. It's that too many processes are still manual and reactive. Chasing signatures, following up payments, preparing audits, searching for documentation, trying to understand occupancy trends after the fact. Modern platforms change that. They create visibility in real time. They automate repetitive tasks. They make compliance easier to manage. And they help services operate more proactively instead of constant firefighting. The goal isn't more technology. The goal is less stress, better communication, and more time where it matters most. I don't believe that services that thrive over the next 5 years will be the biggest. I think they'll be the ones that look at technology and reduce friction for teachers. They create confidence for the families. And they build cultures where people can sustainably stay in the profession. The future isn't less human, it's more human, supported with better systems. Less stress, more presence, ultimately more trust. So, in talking of all that, we now want to talk a little bit about what that solution is. And I'm going to invite Kiang up here now to show you some of the innovation we're delivering today and some of the innovation that's coming to help support this message and to support each of you in your centres in reducing that stress, reducing that burden, and creating an environment where people want to stay in childcare longer. Thank you.